A major setback for the Trump administration tonight, and that $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. Federal judge today temporarily blocked it. That fund is tied to a broader legal settlement with the Justice Department involving Trump, his family, and his businesses. It basically shields the president and his family and those businesses from any IRS scrutiny going back decades. The judge's order freezes all activity. No money can be moved, no claims reviewed, no payments made, while the court considers legal challenges. That has drawn bipartisan criticism, with opponents calling this a political slush fund for Trump allies with little oversight. Supporters argue it would compensate people that they say were unfairly targeted by the government. A hearing is set for mid-June. Joining us now to discuss is Assistant Law Professor Erin Carr from Seattle University. Erin, thanks for being with us tonight.
Hi, good evening, Joyce.
Okay, what does this mean that the judge has blocked this fund legally?
So the ruling that was issued earlier today temporarily prevents the Trump administration from both establishing the fund and also dispersing any money from it until the court can hold a hearing next month to more fully evaluate whether this fund is in fact legal. There are several pending lawsuits at the moment challenging the legality of the fund, and today's decision represents really the first meaningful roadblock to the president's efforts to create a taxpayer fund to compensate his political allies.
And why is it so controversial?
Well, this deal was the result of a highly unusual agreement that the Trump administration negotiated with itself. The agreement has provoked bipartisan concerns and criticism from legislators, ethics attorneys, legal scholars, and even a number of former judges who have all raised interrelated legal, constitutional, and ethical issues with this agreement. First, because this agreement was the result of a case that was brought for the first time in history by a president against his own government, there's a question about whether there was actually a case or controversy here at all. The second major issue with this agreement involves the way in which the fund would be administered and paid for. The Trump administration intends to administer this fund using money that Congress did not specifically authorize for this purpose. And the president has additionally proposed using these funds to compensate people convicted of participating in the January 6th attack on the Capitol, which would violate the public debt clause of the 14th Amendment, which explicitly prevents the U.S. government from paying any debt related to an insurrection or rebellion against the United States government.
And then why are people worried about that tax piece of it regarding the Trump family and his businesses?
The settlement agreement between the Department of Justice and the president that established that fund also provides the president, his family, and his family-owned businesses with sweeping permanent immunity from prosecution for tax-related crimes. That is extraordinary. Prior to this agreement, the president had been the subject of a multi-year investigation by the IRS in which he was facing as much as $100 million in potential tax penalties for alleged misconduct. But as part of this agreement, the U.S. government is now forever barred from investigating or prosecuting President Trump, his relatives, and his business interests for tax abuses. And so functionally, this agreement operates as a presidential pardon of himself, his family members, and his business associates that extends to past and future tax-related misconduct.
Which would be unprecedented, clearly. Why does this case matter beyond Trump?
No president or elected official should be permitted to direct billions of dollars of government funds into their own pockets and those of their political allies. The potential for corruption and abuse is simply too great. And particularly at a time when public confidence in democratic institutions is already faltering, the transfer of taxpayer funds to politicians and their associates risks further undermining faith in our government and our political leaders.
Yeah, public trust really at the core of a lot of this. From Seattle University, Erin, we always appreciate your insight. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thank you very much, Joyce.